Is your business name locked down? Is your business trademark secure? If not, you might need to double check that, because if you are not sure and it's not secure, it's not locked down, another company similar to yours could file for the trademark and could put you out of business as a bottom line. I'll be very blunt about it. So this trademark stuff is very important. It's not to be ignored. It should be one of the first things that you do. And so that's why today I'm bringing on a trademark expert. Tiffany and Mia, thank you so much for joining us today to talk um, trademarks instead of trademarks. Trademarks, like with a dog there. I know
That's
is
a
rolling his
play on
eyes
words.
right now in the back. But Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us for another episode.
Thanks for having me
Yeah, of
back.
course. Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to have you back on and talk about kind of what we're looking at, currently, what we're seeing in the trademark world, what people should be looking at now that it's quarter 4. Maybe they're starting to see a little traction and they want to get some trademark information going. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk a lot about it. So I'm excited to, again, have an expert back on to chat about what you should be doing, what maybe you should be trademarking, and where the best ways to do that are. So getting right into it, in the headlines this week, we noticed that Eminem, or AKA Slim Shady, is suing an Australian swim brand called Swim Shady. Is that going to hold up? Or is that something that, because Eminem's not really in the swim world, that they can legally trademark that? Is that something? I know we talked about the different, I could technically trademark Starbucks if it wasn't maybe in the immediate coffee world or something like that. So is that something you think will hold up? Is that viable? Is that going to go through?
Oh, it's an interesting question. So I'll tell you a little bit of background on the general concept.
Yes.
So in the U.S., so I'm a U.S. trademark attorney, so I only know the U.S. trademark law. And in the U.S., I'm gonna let my dog go because she
Mia's
wants to
ready.
go.
She's done.
We had her for as long as we could
Yeah.
keep her. Um, there is kind of like this additional concept called fame of the mark. The more famous your trademark, the more rights you have in the US. And it's sort of unfair, but it's how it is. Because, I don't know a lot about the Slim Shady mark. I'm not sure what category it's in, but I'm assuming it's registered for him to go that far and bring a suit. Um, the question is, I mean, you hit the question right on the head. Is this mark famous enough to expand past the class it's filed in into like everything ever because it's so famous? So this would be a fame of the mark case, and it's a test. I don't, what you're probably gonna see, you're probably gonna see a settlement because you're talking about, a music
Right.
empire that has all the money in the world to put up against
Right.
this, and probably a smaller swim brand who may or may not have realized they were potentially trading on that
Thought they were
mark.
being funny.
They literally may
Yeah.
not have even put 2 and 2
Yeah.
together. I don't know. Yeah, really
Right.
don't know. But this leads really well into the concept of policing your mark. So this is something we wanted to talk about for Q4.
Especially around the holidays and
Um,
all these brands are popping up.
yeah,
Yeah.
so as you see fraud increasing, and another thing, as you start to get traction on a product that maybe you put out this year, people's cognizance of your brand is going to be
Right.
changing. So as something's raising in the ranks, as you're becoming more successful, as a certain product's taking off, and your brand name with it, you're getting both the good and the bad
Hmm.
exposure. So where do trademarks play in this? So, because I don't like to talk over anybody's head, I just want to take it to 3 steps. So the first step is checking your trademark. And I have a trademark research company, it's called Trademark Prospector, and we research your trademark just to see if you can actually use it or if someone else has already taken it. If you can make it past that step, you get to registration. Registering your trademark can take up to a year, and there are kind of like hurdles. It's not guaranteed, but once you get that registration, now you're the legitimate owner, but now you actually have an obligation to police your trademark. You're obligated to do it. A lot of people don't even think about
Right.
this, but it's on you to play whack-a-mole with the people who are going to pop up and try to trade on your name. And you say, who's going to trade on my name? Well, as your name becomes more and more popular, as your brand's growing and as your products are doing well, you start to become the prime target for the
Right.
scammers, for the people who just want to pretend they're you.
Chinese
And you say,
sellers, all these other
yes, and clients
manufacturers.
who
Yeah.
come to me, somebody's selling something on another site under my name, or somebody's took my entire book and put their cover on it, right? These are real life scenarios. The way that you handle these types of things are through trademark and in the book scenario, that's copyright. But for trademark, for instance, if a major platform like TikTok, for instance, um, has a concern over whether you're the legitimate owner of the brand that you're putting forth, one of the only ways to prove it is to provide your US federal trademark registration. Why? It's a third party verifiable.
Right.
I can create a fraudulent one in seconds, but
It's good to
you
know.
can go to the USPTO and check and see if my trademark's registered to
Right.
me and whether it's live. And then you can look to the third person and say, look, if you were legitimate, where is your
Yeah.
trademark? Why does she have it? This is the power of the trademark, and this is how people are policing their mark. This is how you keep someone else from trading off of all that goodwill, all that hard work you put in. You made the brand there, and now they're going to come in and try to steal it from you. You have control, you have power, but you have to take those steps first to get it researched to see if it's a brand you can trademark, and then to go forth, trademark it, and police it. Now, let's say you finally got traction on a brand, you didn't pay, you didn't want to put money toward the research, very common situation. But now that you're getting traction, this is the time to check your trademark. Why? Number one, if you're trading on someone else's trademark, oops, they're going to notice you when you get bigger. They don't know right away. They notice you when you get bigger. So you want to make sure that's out of the
Right.
way. Secondly, as you're getting bigger, you're generating this other notice. You don't want someone to slip in there and steal your mark that you could have had, and now you're in a fight. Now you have to prove first use, and you may never get it. This is on you because now you have the information. So I always say this before, but like big businesses, they don't take these risks.
Mm-mm.
They clear their marks, they research, and they choose very specifically designed marks that they can get through and protect because they're not going to put $1 behind something that they can lose. Now it happens from time to time and things change and slip through the cracks,
Right.
but they're investing in this. And so we're trying to bring this entire concept to the small business world because it's something that's quite frankly left out of the conversation almost completely. I'm not sure why,
Right.
because it has real world consequences. And, if you talk to up to 10 business owners, you'll hit one that will tell you, yes, I got a cease and desist letter. I had to take everything down. And, it's
Yeah.
real, but it's just not really talked
It's so
about.
interesting how it gets swept under the rug as something to me as someone that's in sort of the world and in the e-commerce space. It's so interesting because the first thing that I say to people that come in for a discovery call or for a sales call, but I say, do you have your trademark? Do you have GS1 barcodes? Do you have your trademark? That's the very
Good
first thing. If you
job.
don't have it, I don't want
Good
to
for
work with you
you.
because
Oh
yeah,
my goodness,
that's
I'm
what we
so
say.
happy you do
That's what we
that.
say. And even not even just
Yeah,
us. I mean, Amazon
right.
basically says that. Amazon says,
Mhm.
do you have a trademark? You don't have a trademark. Okay, well, you don't get X, Y, and Z feature until you get a
Right.
trademark. So it's so
And it's because they can't really trust
right,
you because you didn't take the basic step to create the
right.
trust.
There's
So,
countless
right.
scandals or countless counts, I guess, I don't know, countless examples that really is a better word for it, of fraud happening from, Slim Shady people to tie it back into our first discussion. Again,
Yeah.
Derek is rolling his eyes. There's countless examples of shady people doing these different things on Amazon that wouldn't have probably happened if there was a trademark in place saying, here is my trademark for this product. I am the owner. Here you go. And these people are saying, yes, this is that product. Here's what I'm selling. And it's not the product, or it's something different entirely, or it's a fake. Um, but yeah, so it's crazy to me that you're saying this is pretty common when, and in the world that I'm in, it seems like that should be step one. That's what we're thinking about before even starting a real concept of the business is what are we going to name it and is it available? That's like the fun part. So
Mhm.
it's crazy to me that
Yeah.
people skip over that, or like you said, it gets swept under the rug. It's insane.
Yeah, and it's because people are going fast, and it's also kind of like a risk reward scenario, and I know, and it's not to be discounted that some people will say, "I'll rebrand, it's no problem if I get hit with a, trademark cease and desist, I'll deal with it then and I'll rebrand." And that's okay for, a smaller investment, but as
Right.
your investment grows, that's when it becomes that risk reward is not there anymore.
Right.
The risk is too high to skip, and a lot of people, they don't wanna hear bad
No.
news, they don't wanna rebrand, it's very embarrassing. People are very embarrassed to say, "Oh, I, did something wrong and now I have to
Yep.
rebrand."
And it's
But I
expensive,
say
I would imagine.
yeah, it's expensive, but don't jeopardize the future over something that, you recently
Yeah.
figured out. Embrace the idea that you learned something new, that you want to turn your brand to something that's protectable, and then as you go that direction, I always tell people a rebrand's a touch point. You get to go reach out to anybody you've ever sold something to and say, "Hey, guess what? X is now
Right.
Y." That's an
Yeah.
opportunity. So it's and it's not something that you kind of want to ignore, but also kind of like put your head in the sand. You don't want to do that.
Right. You definitely don't want to let it
Um,
get too. You don't want to let it fester. Is a good word.
yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of times the reason you don't hear anybody talking about it is because they're embarrassed. They don't want to come out and admit to you
No.
any issues or troubles.
Right.
But it's part of the business world, and it's actually very hard to find an available trademark. It's a lot harder than most people think, and some people get lucky, so they just think it's very easy, but others of us know it's very hard, and, I think it just kinda qualifies you as in the business world if you're even looking into it,
I'd imagine nowadays too, especially in 2025, a lot of these names are a lot of the real words are taken. So you got to kind of come up with something. And I know that's I think you mentioned last time it was a little bit easier to get something trademarked that isn't just a word or isn't just uh you know
Yeah, just a
existing.
real word we've all heard of
Right.
before.
Right. So
So, yeah, one of the reasons you see businesses coming up with some crazy
right.
names that aren't real words can be trademark. It could be that they didn't even want that
Yeah.
name, but the 45 other names they wanted, they
It's
couldn't
all of
get.
the pharmaceutical companies have the weird Xanaphylactics, Macta,
Yeah,
something crazy name.
exactly.
And we don't have to get into big pharma on here.
Yeah.
They might, you don't have to cut this now, Dare. They're going to suppress our YouTube algorithm. But
Oh, no.
in any case, it's interesting to see, just again, like you said, it's interesting to see people not take this seriously and say, oh,
Yeah.
I'll just rebrand or
Well,
whatever.
a lot of it's education, and that's I would say it's not just like some people. I would say out of the small business owners, I would say 80% either don't have a trademark or don't even know that they could have a trademark, meaning there's no reason they shouldn't go register it tomorrow. They don't even know to do it. They don't understand the value of it, and it hasn't been presented to
Yeah.
them. One of the kind of problems I see is even with financial professionals, you work with a financial professional over the years. They never told you to invest in your brand name so that when you go to sell your business, your trademark matches the history of the business. It's not just, pending, when you have a 25-year-old business you're trying to sell. Um, it's really oddly left out of the conversation, and I just think it's a large lack of education. I would say even in the financial
Right.
world, because it's considered a legal concept, your finance professional might not tell you to do it, and, half of these small businesses, they don't have an attorney to tell them. So, it's gonna be a program like yours where it's the first time they come across the concept, and that's the opportunity is that we are here to educate business owners, to encourage them, to support them, and to also let them know, if you did have a trademark issue or you got a cease and desist letter, that's
Right.
okay. That's a rebrand. That's okay. It doesn't mean it's a reason to stop doing business or to not continue to try to be in this world with the rest of
Right.
us.
Right. And like we said, especially kind of tying it into where we're at now and looking at all of the different things that are going on. I mean, you could probably ask AI to generate a good brand name for you. I mean, I don't know if they have access to the USPTO list, but I guess why wouldn't they? That's kind of a scary thought, but you can ask them.
Yeah, it's definitely going that direction. It
Yeah.
really should
Yeah. Are you
pretty
seeing?
soon get to the point where you could clear the mark through AI. But right now, one of the things that holds AI back, and it's going to hold it back for a
Mhm.
while, is the right to crawl websites like Facebook and
Right. Right.
LinkedIn and things like that. There are permissions out there that a human user can have, but they won't give it always to
Right.
computers, and especially big
Yeah.
business.
They don't want that.
So
Maybe they do. I don't know.
currently there are things that human beings can do, like finding other users on sites like Facebook,
Mhm.
etc., that the algorithms can't, because it's not that they couldn't, it's a permissions issue.
Right.
And so it's going to be interesting to watch it evolve, but I think it's just going to get harder and harder because everybody's in
Right.
business. So as everyone jumps in, there's just more marks that are
Yep.
taken.
That's what
I
they.
mean, it's kind of like finding a URL.
Mm,
Very similar concept.
it's tough.
It's very saturated.
It's
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
I forget which tech guy said this, but one of the big AI tech people said that the only job that's safe anymore, or that will be safe in 10 years when AI is way more powerful, is venture
Really, yeah.
capitalists. Um, you start a business, you have to start a business. And you're right. Like I said, it's 2025 at this point. I would imagine that
Yeah.
the list of names that you can take are pretty small, especially in the more popular categories. Like I said, supplements, I can only imagine.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
pet products, I can only imagine. Just thinking of the popular Amazon categories. So it's very interesting to see where it goes. I will be very curious to see the next wave of this. Like I said, maybe that will be the only job left, and I will be. I always say this on the show about me being replaced with an AI host. I don't. Who knows?
Yeah, it
Who
is what it
knows? Yeah.
is. We're all in the same boat, but I would like to see AI hit the trademark office just so that we have a lot more consistent rulings. I mean, I was talking to another trademark attorney, and we were sort of commiserating over how, you could have the same case and two different people give you different results. And
Yeah.
it's
What?
it's very hard to advise clients when the what you're relying on is all over the
Right.
place. And often, in my experience, from what I've seen historically, you will see favorable results for very large names, big money people,
Right.
and you wonder if they didn't have that money, if they would have got that result, which means there's a level of corruption, there's a
Right.
level of influence that occurs that, is not blind
Right.
justice.
It's like, hey, I heard
So
the
there's a lot of concerns out there with how the trademark office actually makes decisions, and I'm not pinpointing any
interesting.
person or making any accusations. I'm just saying it's interesting how larger businesses get some of these, so that people twist themselves in knots and for them to get, what they're looking
Right.
for,
Right.
whereas smaller businesses, you wonder if it would have came out the same.
Hmm.
That's not supposed to happen. And it's just sort of right there in the decisions.
Right.
It's public information. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm just
It's
saying you
just
can go look, and there's some questionable
right. It's just
decisions,
what's happening.
my
It's just
opinion.
what's
Yeah.
happening, and
It's just what's
it's
happening.
like
Yeah.
Google needs a new, I don't know, AI thing trademarked, and they say, I heard that the
Right.
USPTO needs some fun new chairs, desks and chairs.
Right.
We'd be happy to donate to those if we can get this very obvious trademark thing. I'm not saying Google specifically. I don't know. Just
No,
speculating.
yeah.
Maybe
And
Eminem went to the trademark office and said they cannot do this. Maybe Eminem said that. He said, I'll buy a new something. You each get a new car. He's that rich,
oh
which is so
boy.
interesting.
Well, I hope it's not going that
It's
far.
so
I just
yeah.
mean sort of by I don't even know. Even by cachet of the bigger names, it's just interesting to see what happens over there. And then yeah, there's just it's going to change a lot with AI in the internal system. They're going to have decisions that are clear and consistent because AI doesn't work without having a clear and consistent, model to go after. They cannot have two decisions that fight each other. The AI will explode. So it's going to actually probably force the USPTO to change prior decisions and get a lot more aligned, which would be beneficial to everyone because without clear rules, it's really kind of an unfair playing field or a messy playing field. Um, so it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to change things, but we all have to kind of go along for the ride.
Yeah.
I tell people you can't fight it. Do
Nope.
not fight it. Just find your place within it, within the
If you
world.
resist the wave, you'll
It's going to
drown.
be okay, I
Right.
hope.
If you resist the wave, you'll drown, kind of
Yeah.
thing, related to
Yeah.
AI and all that stuff. But
Yeah. There's going to be a place for us. It just might be
it
different.
just might be a little different. It might be a smidge different. Well,
Yeah.
going back to kind of wrap on the trademark side, what advice can you give to new businesses right now that are coming up that are either not trademarked, that they're on the other side of the fence, and they're maybe getting ready for the holidays, and they said, okay, well, I have to rush to get all this stuff ready. I'm going to avoid the trademark. Um, or even just people that are just starting a business now. What advice do you have for them? This is the end of 2025. We're going into 2026. AI is running rampant. There's a million business ideas already taken, a million business names already trademarked. What advice do you have for
Yeah.
these people that are maybe losing hope that they're going to get a solid trademark?
Okay. Well, the first step is to acknowledge the process, acknowledge that it's there. I've had people fight me on this that it's like they don't want the trademark rules to apply to them.
Right.
It's in place. We have to abide by it. So first is to acknowledge the process. And then after that, as you're thinking about, let's say you're expanding your brand, you're going into new products, you're coming up with that product
Hmm.
line name, work with a trademark researcher like myself or someone in the field and come up with 5, maybe even 10 viable names that you could live with and vet them. Vet them for
Right.
trademarkability. This is what big business does. So if you want to act like a big business, you want to act like a big business in every portion of what you do. Don't get emotional. I don't care that it's your grandma's maiden
Yeah.
name. Go for the business side, do it like big business. So once you vet a list of 10, only 1 or 2 is going to rise to the top. 8 of them are going to be completely out. And it's going to help you focus. So you're going to say, "Oh, I was really worried about number 9. I really liked it the best." Well, it's out. So move on. It's going to help you move forward if you get trademark research on a set that you really have an interest in. After that, once you found something you like, lock it up. Why do I say lock it up? I've literally seen somebody file the exact mark, exact class, exact description 1 month after something we filed and we had priority because we didn't sit on it.
Right.
So don't sit on, let's just say there's too many people, there's too much money out there getting into the branding
Right.
world. So once you clear it, lock it up because you're going to have to re-clear it later if you don't. So you're just creating kind of like a delay. After you lock it up, you can feel good that you actually can rely on this trademark and you can start building out under it.
Hmm.
That's going to give you peace of mind. Lock up your socials, lock up your website, get it, lock it down. If you change it later, buy a new
Right.
one. Lock it down while it's there because it might not be there tomorrow. I think everybody probably knows this by now that I'm connecting with.
Right.
It's not anything new, but it's just to encourage you to go with your gut, lock it down. You can always buy new ones. You can sell those later. And then build something that you actually could potentially
Hmm.
protect because you don't want to build to lose it. If you're gonna start putting money behind it, clear that mark first because if it kills it and your heart breaks, it breaks
Right.
early.
There's nothing you can do.
Sweep it away and get a new heart. It's
Right.
brutal. It's a brutal process, but this is business. This is
Right.
business.
So
Yeah, and, so that's my
love it.
advice.
Love it. Tiffany, thank you so much. I will have your
Yeah.
LinkedIn as well as Trademark Prospector's website linked down below. So if you are out there and you fit the description of the business I just described, where you're starting to get out, you're worried about that the trademark name might not be out there, check out Tiffany's website, meet with Tiffany, and figure out if it is possible to get that name trademarked at all. So,
Yeah,
sweet.
awesome. Well, thanks for having me. Love talking
Yes,
trademarks with you.
thanks to you and Mia for jumping on here. Appreciate you both.
No
And
problem.
yeah, thanks for another good episode. Yep. Thank
Excellent.
you all for watching. Yeah, I'm your host, Velocity Pete, and we will see you next week.